Today we are going to talk about tumbling. Now the reason I'm going to talk about tumbling today is because it is 5 in the afternoon, it's getting dark outside, I haven't done any filming today, I need to film something for you right now, otherwise I'll break the run of 120 something videos every day without missing a day. And the reason I'm choosing tumbling is because it's a topic I'm fascinated with and I know I can just talk and talk and talk about it. So let's start right at the beginning. What is tumbling? Tumbling is how I get from the raw finished titanium products to something very nice, feels very nice in the hand, looks nice, smooth, whether it's a sort of semi-polish or polish or just a sort of matte or stonewash finish. Now my first tumbler was me putting some titanium in a plastic tub with some rocks from my garden, sellotaping it shut, wrapping it in a towel, tying string around it and putting it in my washing machine. It bounced around a bit, made a hell of a lot of noise. I was in the other room, I heard it banging and clattering and I just suddenly thought, whoa, it's exploded, and it had, and the stones were rattling around inside my washing machine. But I got a good sort of 10 minutes from it and I could see that it had worn away, and that was the sort of how I started. So the first real tumbler I bought was this one here. As you can see, it's quite a small beast, certainly compared to what I'm doing now, but at the time it was major for me. Like it was such a beast, and it did the first few prototypes quite well. Now this is just an ordinary, you know, it's mainly used for gemstones and things like that, made by Lortone. It's very slow though, like to tumble something properly, like titanium, takes a few days depending on the media, and even then you don't get a very bright finish. But it did sort of to get me started. My first product that I ever did was the Viperfish, which was like a pocket multi-tool shaped like a fish. In fact, I'll show you one right now. So here's the Viperfish here, multi-function pocket tool made from titanium. The mouth is a bottle opener, there's metric and imperial wrenches here, you can use the tail for a screwdriver. It was my first ever product. Now it's discontinued, I don't sell it anymore. I made it somewhere between 2 and 3 years ago. It doesn't tie in, the type of product it is doesn't tie in with how, you know, my business has evolved and the type of products I do now, hence not selling it anymore. But I first made something like 200 of them or 150, can't quite remember, and I knew that this small tumbler wouldn't do for it. So when that Kickstarter project was successful and I had to make 150, 200, whatever, then I had to buy one of these tumblers. So this here, you can sort of see roughly the size of it. Excuse all the dust and everything, this is just a part of the workshop, we just store stuff. So this is what I bought here, and soon after that, for the next couple of projects, I was reaching a bit of a bottleneck and I had to buy another one, so we ended up with 2 of them. Now they work in a similar sort of speed and that to this one here. Like it just rotates, it just rotates slowly, takes a few days to tumble things, and it's a very dark finish. There's no way you're going to get a nice bright silvery look with it, and you certainly can't polish, that's for sure. But so soon after that, maybe 6 months, a year after that, I really reached a bottleneck with those 2, and that is when I upgraded to this. This is the Centrifugal Tumbler. Now, I did a lot of research and kind of, you know, did sort of try to figure out, you know, how much faster it would be, how much it could do, things like that, and, you know, sort of value, and that's why I ended up going for this. But there's a few things that are interesting about this Centrifugal Tumbler. Firstly, it requires way more manual labour than I thought it would. Because it's so fast, it's around about maybe 20 to 30 times faster than just the first tumblers I started out with. I mean, what you can do in a day or two with those tumblers you can do in an hour or so with these. Like, it's really fast. So what ends up happening is the bottleneck is the changeover time. Like, if you look in here, we put a barrel in there, a barrel in there, barrel in the back one, and a barrel in the fourth one. It takes 4 barrels. Now, these are the barrels here. I'll get to them in a minute. But we put 4 barrels in, we tumble it for an hour, and then, you know, like, it's the changeover time that takes a long time, and it's extremely labor intensive. You know, when you do a day's tumbling, so when you're swapping out barrels and changing things over, tipping barrels out, sorting through the stuff, like, at the end of the day, it's like you've been digging ditches all day. Really, it's unbelievable, and I didn't anticipate that before I bought it. I won't get into the detail just now, but if you've been watching my previous videos, you will know that I have just purchased a vibrational tumbler. That's like a sort of one that's kind of similar in size, bit smaller, shaped like a donut, and it sort of folds the media in a sort of, it vibrates and folds it, and it sort of rotates round. I won't go into detail on that right now. There's a lot of things I want to say about it, but this video is going to be long enough as it is. Suffice to say, I've realized that there's more plus points for one of those than one of these, and that includes cost, manual labor, being able to run it overnight. Like, there's a whole load of things. So I'm edging away from one of these machines and towards a vibratory tumbler. So I'll talk about that in another video. Now, I'll talk briefly about these barrels. So as you can see, these barrels have different media in them. This one here, that is like that's ceramic. That's another type of ceramic. This is a plastic pyramid. This is another type of plastic pyramid. There's a few other types and sort of media and things like that. You get different compounds, different sort of like what they're made from, you know, like how soft they are, different hardnesses of them, different grits of the plastic, different sizes, different shapes. It's unreal. There's thousands and thousands of different variations from different manufacturers. So what happens here is we put media in one of those barrels, and what we do is we put a bit of titanium in there. So let's use this one for an example, because that's what we use first. We would use the ceramic to sort of cut down and really sort of aggressively take off material and round the corners. So we put that in there. Once we did that, we would put on a lid like so, and once we did that, we would clamp it on like so. We then take that barrel, and that barrel goes in here. Now, obviously, you can't put one in; it would be off balance. So you've got to put, you know, either 2 in or 4 in. And I'll see if I can show you this. So, as you can see, that is basically how it turns. So, in fact, I'll draw it for you, it's a lot easier. So how the centrifugal tumbler works, let's say instead of looking front on, we were looking on the side, so we're looking end on to the barrels sort of sitting in their pods, we would see something like this. The barrels would then be numbered, say 1, 2, 3, 4. When you put barrels in, you either have to have, you know, 1 in there, 1 in there, or 1 in there, 1 in there, or basically have them all in there, all 4 of them. Now, these are on a larger wheel, like that, and you can have that running, you know, that way or that way, whichever way you want. And that goes very fast. Like on this machine, we can go up to 175 RPM, which is basically almost like 3 revolutions every second. So it would be something like that. And when this big wheel goes round, these actually stay fixed. So instead of the barrel, you know, typically you'd expect these to be fixed on there, and that would go around. So you watch my hand, it would go around like that, and it doesn't. they stay fixed. So you look at my hand there, that's how they go around. They stay fixed. So because the barrel is fixed and it's going quite fast, when it's say up at the top, the media will be sitting up at the top and there'll be a space at the bottom here. When it comes down here, the media will be like that over at this side, and there'll be a space here when it's down here. So, you know, it's called a centrifugal tumbler because it's like, you know, let's say you're walking home with shopping in a bag of shopping. If you spin the bag around like that, you know, the can of beans stays in the bag. It doesn't drop out because of the force is holding it in there. It's just like that. The media is being pressured up against the top, and when it comes down to the side, it's being pressured against the side. It's as simple as that, really. I don't think I've missed anything. I might do an actual sort of show you a bit of the process in another video. I'll certainly be doing a lot on the new tumbler when I get it, the new vibratory bowl tumbler, because I am excited as a kid on Christmas morning about that, or I will be as excited as a kid on Christmas morning. So until then, I think that's really it. But if you have any questions, fire them at me and I will be glad to reply. I absolutely love tumbling and everything about tumbling.